deal, good people? Glad to be back in the house on another episode of the Factz Ova Feelinz podcast with a very special guest today. Obviously, very easy upon the eyes as we can all observe. It's a young lady I've had the privilege to know for just a few months of my life now. I've been involved in a lot of very deep conversations in a group setting that just pertain to life in general. A wide range of subject matter, and her perspective has been very interesting to me. So I was very eager to get her on the platform and just discuss some current issues. And with no further ado, I would like to introduce you to none other than Lauren Madison. That's her government name, and she can do a more precise introduction of herself if she would choose to. Welcome to the Factz Ova Feelinz podcast. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Well, just a quick introduction. My name is Lauren Madison. I am the owner of Melevated. I, like Spider Loc has said, we met through happenstance and circumstance.
You can be as descriptive as you like.
We're in a program together, and we ended up
DUI program.
Yeah.
Where we discussed the ailments of drinking alcohol for 3 hours a week.
Yes, yeah. And other topics come up that are related and sometimes
shout out
unrelated.
To Miss K.
Yeah, Miss K, shout out. And through those topics and open conversation, we just developed a vibe, and we were able to just, pick each other's minds without each other getting offended over one another or like, oh, I just don't agree. And then, just it was all positive vibes. And even as we left and even as we see each other every Friday, it's still always just a positive mindset, perspective, just all of it. And as I always say in the class, you're making my brain massage because it's like, just the way you make me think is
likewise.
Yeah, it's like, wow, okay, I never thought about it that way. Well, what about this and what about that? And I just love those kind of conversations because I another thing that we agree on is in this day and age, talking to people and just in general, there's a lot of closed-mindedness and just
Indeed.
One-sidedness, and just if you step into a group that you're not necessarily familiar with, you may see something different that you're not used to seeing. So just saying all that to say that we vibed, and I'm about to be starting up a podcast of my own pretty soon, and he was telling me about his. So we just
the way you brush over that does no justice to the fact that okay, guys, I want to let you know I had a 12-week commitment to the program that we're in. I had to do 12 weeks.
I'm doing 12 weeks.
I have 1 week left, which is an extended week because I missed a week. So I have actually done 13 weeks. Coming up Friday will be my last day. So she and I discussed podcasts perhaps for the first time 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So for the majority of 10 weeks, which is a couple months, we've been having this energy in this group setting in discussion for our class. And
it makes the time go.
It makes the time pass.
And everybody gets engaged when me and you and
Indeed.
Ms. K go
even
back
those
forth.
that you can tell would prefer to sit in the class and not be asked any questions get motivated to speak. Yeah. And I had been producing this podcast behind the scenes, totally separate from our class. I didn't mention it to anyone. We talk all the time. However, just from engaging her in conversation on a regular basis, she always was being considered in my mind as I was developing this podcast as maybe not just a guest, a potential co-host. She just every time she speak, unbeknownst to her or anybody else in the room, these thoughts were in my mind. And then here it is, 10 weeks in, before I could even think about approaching her with any type of idea on this subject, she was in one of her regular random talks, and she's like, "And I'm woo woo, and I'm developing a podcast. I would love to ask you to part."
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. And there's like about 10 people in the class plus the teacher, and I was just like, and by the way, Curtis.
I wish I was smooth enough to just sit back and accept the invitation and act like it was news. But me, so honest, I'm like, you lying, like. And from that point on, I think I was a little further in the development stages than she was, so I was able to extend the invite before she was. But that's the irony of us being here having this conversation before you all. And I want to say this, what made her presence even more appreciated is we're coming to a DUI class. And the overall spirit of this class is, I don't want to be at this shit. It costs me money. It's a motherfucking consequence. It's 3 hours. I gotta be here. Strangers, you come in there with that type of attitude. Everybody's grown, and then out of nowhere, one person comes in like a firecracker. Good morning. It's awesome sauce. And
yeah, guys, I'm a whole vibe. Like, everybody. You can immediately when you walk in, before I come in there, you can kind of just, and no offense to Curtis, because Curtis is usually in there, but it's like, it's this whole drab where it's just like, everybody's kind of slouched, you got people sitting in the back with their heads down, hoodies on, sitting in the corners or whatever, just waiting to pass the time, get this over with. And then even if I'm late, and there have been a couple times, it was borderline because we have a 1 minute late policy.
It's a wrap.
And,
walk through that door.
Yeah. And, things happen. So I've run in there with one shoe on and I was like, good morning, guys. And just everybody kind of just lights up. And, you need that. People need that. People need that in this world. And if I can provide it, it makes me smile to see people's spirits happy. And if I can provide that by just saying good morning the way that I do,
you guys have no idea. You guys are seeing this being relayed with the smile in place. Mind you, she was transmitting this energy with mask on. I'm talking about the smile used to permeate throughout the mask.
I had a mask on all the time.
It was a mystery. I had no idea what was going to be behind the mask. That's probably what I waited before I even thought about extending an invitation to come be on camera with you.
Yeah, one day he was like, pull your mask off. And I was just like...
I had to get a peek. But with all the energy that the facial presence provides to the positivity, she was still able to transmit that energy mass. So it's very genuine energy from the inside. And if you can light up that type of class of people, it's to the point where by chance, when she doesn't make it to class, the class seems twice as long. I want you to know, without you, those 3 hours seem like 6 hours.
I'm sorry that it feels that way, but it feels good to hear that. It feels good that I am noticed, that I'm missed, I'm valued.
Indeed,
it really does help me move past my days sometimes to know that, hey, if I wasn't there, people notice. It really does feel good. And all I'm doing is just being myself around these people, and they're appreciating that spirit. They're appreciating my spirit. And I want to be around people like that.
That was my next question. Man. What is it that inspires you to just be such a beacon of light, positivity? Because once we get into discussion, on these same days, you might have a long laundry list of negativity and challenges that you're currently facing in real time. And you're not only announcing them with Jubilee, you might sigh and express some of the stress involved, but you tackle it with that same smiling energy. Where do you find the inspiration with so many challenges upon you to be so positive?
My grandmother was a huge inspiration to me. I think there was only maybe one time I saw her upset, and that was when I hit my head, and then my stepsister was like, it's not like she was trying to explain, and my grandmother was like, shut up before I sock you. And I was like, but she never cussed. And every day, because I had to go to music with her on Saturday morning. So Monday through Friday school, Saturday was at 7 a.m. We had to drive to LA to go to music school, and then up on church on Sunday. It was, and we got to clean and do everything, piano practices and stuff in between. But it was always, even if I was upset or tired or whatever, she'd be like, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. And she always kept a smile on her face. And I was her caregiver when she passed. I moved back in with her in March of 2018.
Bless you and bless her soul.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. And just that time, even though it wasn't a lot of time, it only ended up being 8 months from the time I brought her home.
That's a lot of time. To watch that process, that's a lot of time.
It is. Caregiving is no joke, especially when you put your whole heart into someone that you love, especially the matriarch of the family who's never done anything wrong or said in my opinion, to anybody in my family. They've always viewed her in the positive, highly, highly positive light. She's never been a negative person. So when she passed away, I just kind of was like, what can I feel like legacies, it could be properties and stuff like that, which our family has had that in the past. But part of it is what people can emulate. Like that also remains. You may not be in the history book, but what you spread through life could emulate through time. It doesn't have to be, this monumental thing. So even if I pass away tomorrow, what can I emulate in my nieces and my nephews and now my son? Like, what would I want them to emulate from me? And that would be my positive spirit, which I do get from my grandmother's positive spirit. She was really like, no matter what, like just never. Every day is a new day. People are dying. People are getting sick. I have been blessed to wake up with my health. I'm not the richest person, but I have people to have my back, and I have situations that are put in front of me that I can have the opportunity to take. I have all my limbs. They're working. I have both my eyes. I can see. I may not have 20/20 vision, but I got my contacts. Right. I got my glasses. Right. I was blessed to have those things, and I'm not, I can always alter myself every day. I am in a state of depression, but I'm also working out of that depression, and I'm able to do that. And there are others that lost their battle with depression. So who am I to for those, even for them, for their sake, who am I to be like, okay, like I'm going through all these things and all that. So this is how I'm just going to feel, and I'm just going to sit in it, which is okay. It's okay for wherever process you're at. But for me, I just find it easier and better and more alleviating for my spirit. Because like you said, there are so many things going on in this world, and there's so many things happening in each and every person's individual life that can be devastating for them. Everybody has different levels and layers. Something that may be like, my brother just had to bury another one of his friends. Something that, I've only had to, in my lifetime, had to bury 3 friends so far. He's had to already, bury his 30th friend.
It's deep,
and so, it's just, and who am I to just sit and sulk, like all this life being lost. You hear people that have wonderful potentials, graduating with honors or just started a new business or a new company, and then bam, like tomorrow their life is just gone. So who am I? I have this life, and I'm not ailed to the point where I can't get up and walk and I can't get up and move. I still have my mind. I can still think. My grandmother was going out on Dimension to see such a beautiful, smart, intelligent woman who learned how to read and write when she was 3 years old because her father had a 3rd grade education and said, not my daughter. You're going to learn and you're going to know. That's like lose her mind in the end. She was still a beautiful person.
She still is.
Yeah.
Because here she is
emulated
to me. Yes. And I appreciate just the honor involved in you being a caregiver of her transitioning process to where she didn't have to go be in the system with strangers and be facilitated in that fashion. I watched my uncle go through a transition where he was diagnosed only given 6 months. And I kind of watched the last 30, 40 days, day by day up close and watch him deteriorate. And he was blessed that one of his daughters was a CNA, and she was she kissed on him every day and sang to him and talked to him. And I can imagine your grandmother had a similar experience. And she provides this type of tender care to all her clients and patients. But not this type. No one lacks what they need, but can you imagine someone who's already dedicated with a similar, shout out to you, baby bear, a similar spirit as yours, but then she does it for a living to humanity, but then you have the opportunity to do it to your king, and she did it so, I got to watch her do it, and I applaud that you were there to be able to facilitate our ancestor in such a fashion. And the way you speak about your motivation to face adversity with positivity brings me to a thought of one of my personal mottos again. And it is, I share it in class because Miss K always asks us what we're grateful for.
What we're grateful for and what we're thankful for.
Thankful for and how we feel. And the thing about that is, it's just crazy to be reminded of gratitude, grateful because I have already committed myself publicly to the theme of GITA, which is the acronym for gratitude is the attitude. And as you were summing up how you face adversity positively, it was basically telling me gratitude is the attitude. It could be so much worse. Why complain? There's opportunity for it to be better. Nothing was promised. Nothing was guaranteed. Right. And it brought me to the recent, I shared a link with you earlier while I was traveling here because I was watching a press conference of a shooting in Philadelphia. Yeah. And from my understanding, there were hundreds of people out enjoying an event of fun, leisure. Of course, it's not far from an environment, from what I can perceive, where things pop off. But this particular day was a fun day, concert, things of this nature. And it was a bunch of shooting that took place to the term where the media is classifying as a mass shooting. I believe 12 people were shot, confirmed already. 3 people lost their life. 13.
Three dead, 10 wounded in the from like just minor to critical condition.
It blew my mind because when I first was scrolling through social media and I saw Philadelphia mass shooting, my first mind frame was, okay, mass shooting.
I was like, who shot up? Because
we've been having so many mass shootings. The Texas one, bless those babies. The most recent one that I can recall, the Buffalo incident, bless the lives lost. So mass shooting, but earlier this year there was incidents that took place in Sacramento. I've have a current ongoing theme right now in the way the media terms incidents of violence based upon who's involved. And I know throughout my life, the word mass shooting typically indicated an assailant showing up and unleashing violence upon a group of unsuspected people. However, they've also started terming incidents where people that attend events have an altercation and began to exchange violence, and then random people or multiple people involved end up being harmed. They start classifying those as mass shootings as well. And I think it's a very deceptive way of classifying the events. I think there's a overall purpose as to why they're doing so. And I would love to hear your thoughts on that, not only in relation to the fact that, hey, how many times have you gone to an event where in the public where everybody's enjoying themselves? Could you imagine you have a son and it's something you probably couldn't relate to personally 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Your baby is just months old. Can you imagine? You got a busy schedule you're trying to manage. Somewhere soon, you're going to have to be comfortable leaving him in an institution where, in that comfortable environment, somebody came in. And even through that adversity, you say, we have to find a way. What do you think about the Philadelphia incident in all, based on what you saw from the press conference that we both watched?
It sounds like there are a lot of factors, and we say that all the time in our DUI class as well. There are a lot of factors at play here. You know, the police officers are stretched because their budgets are low, and they had to up, because there was already violence that was in that area. So just based off that, what they saw on social media too, they decided to up the ante. Plus they said it's a tourist area.
You just mentioned social media. So just so you guys know, she's referring to the fact that at this press conference, the officer that spoke initially was questioned and asked from a reporter, did you guys have heavier presence in that area due to a social media beef between local crews that was playing out real time and Instagram. And the response from the officer was something to the effect of, we always monitor social media. And yes, we did have a heavier presence based on niggas being on social media, exchanging insults, threats, and beef. The police were waiting and kind of like anticipating some of this energy. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. So they said they put more of a presence out there due to tourists. They knew that there was going to be activities that were going to be going on for, the weekend and stuff like that. So, and then they already knew that there was there were issues prior to. And I also believe that she said that there was another shooting, or one of the sergeants had said that there was another shooting.
If not two more shootings,
yes,
I think.
that had just went off
within
prior.
an hour or so, yeah.
Like right before.
In the general area, not necessarily
that
at the location.
So the officers were stretched as they could have been stretched when it seems like an altercation of some sort went off. And they said that he was about half a mile, if I'm not mistaken, away.
It wasn't half a mile, it was a half a block. But he described some distance.
Yeah, there was a distance, and he was just firing into the crowd at whoever he had gotten into an altercation with. And it just happened to shoot not only one of the people that he was arguing with, but then two innocent bystanders plus the additional injured.
The officers also indicated that from, I believe, what they gathered as far as evidence, they determined that there were 5 different types of ammunition.
5 different types of bullets, and they only have been able to identify.
They retrieved 2 weapons.
2, I think it was
2 or 3.
2. I would think it was 3.
Also, they said that the person that because they had extra presence, there were officers that actually heard the initial shots.
Yes. That they were the ones who initially responded to the shots
and returned fire to a gunman. And the lady said, she didn't say according to the officer. She said, we believe he was hit.
Yes.
However, he got away on foot, and they have not apprehended him yet.
Been able to find him. Yeah. Yeah. So it sounds like it was a
tragic event, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. Like, people shouldn't have to lose their lives because your emotion. I feel like it's all about learning how to control your emotions. But in, the society that we live in today, especially out there, I'm sure it's like, who's sitting down going, okay, let's talk about your feelings. Things are happening in real time, minutes, sometimes even split seconds before, you got to move, or go or defend. So who got time to talk about, well, why do you feel that way? Now let's go deeper. What
I find interesting too, from the press conference, the officer was speaking on how they've already obtained and are in the process of reviewing footage. And I find it real interesting that in a time such as this, where basically that's available everywhere you go after any incident, that people in our culture are still it's like the cameras that are on us right now. They're basically standing under these cameras, illegally armed in the street and ready to pop off
at any moment.
And it's happening under the camera. What do you think it is to me personally? I've been what we would call mischievous, a badass, whatever you want to call it at certain points in my life. But what definitely always caused me to have some act right? An eye of authority that can bring consequence upon me for my activities. At that moment, no matter at what place it is, camera, police, or whoever's, I'm not finna act the ass when
you know that you're about to
yes.
Like, this can be criminally used against me.
What is it about this generation that even though they're on camera, they don't give a damn about giving a damn?
Because there's no consequences. There's not consequence.
We fill the prisons up at such a disproportionate way. There are consequences. You're on camera. You're in court. You got life. You're only 20-something. You thought you know how to do it. You don't even know how to do it yet.
Yeah.
You thought, you don't even know. And it's over with. It's obvious, even with something that I want to talk about a little later, the Young Thug, the amount of success that certain individuals achieve, but yet and still, we know we're in a time of Big Brother where everything is recorded. They're allowing these people to put trails of evidence together so intricately to where you cannot even wiggle out of the accusations. What makes I mean, bro, I got act right. One of the most motivating elements for me to get act right is they see everything.
Oh yeah, I don't want to be like, I don't want this to be used against me later. Like, how can you deny that? That's you right there. You have your this on, this on, this on.
Right.
You were singing this tune before you came in through the door.
And you see how popular it is for them to utilize lyrics in these cases against artists these days.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They were doing that back in the day, but it's more now because they're just saying everything, every detail. Like, I shot him and then I put him over here on the X coordinate and the Y coordinate.
Yesterday. They haven't even had the funeral yet. Yesterday.
Yeah, right. Then it's like, oh snap! Like, I didn't know. Like,
and they're leaving a trail prior to the incident of who I'm beefing with.
I got problems with you, and you. I'm calling out all of you. So what's up?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. God, once again, since we discussed it without really being sensitive, I want to make sure that we send in our condolences to those who have lost loved ones in Philadelphia.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are, in the same breath, grateful for being here and have not fallen to victim of some of these random things. Since we have discussed it slightly, we might as well transition a little bit. I'm aware, I don't know how aware you are of the fact that Young Thug and his crew has been charged with the RICO Act.
Yeah, I know a little bit.
You know, a little bit. Well, I found it interesting that he went to a bond hearing. If it wasn't yesterday, I believe it was yesterday. And I believe it was his second or third bond hearing. And it was denied as far as his bond under the guise of he's a flight risk. I can agree, first of all, definitely I don't believe he's a flight risk. I think he's far too visible to be a flight risk. However, I also find it interesting that the charges that are brought upon him in 2022 include incidents that took place in 2012. There are quite a few YouTubers that have took it upon themselves, to put a chain together of the events involved. And allegedly there's stolen weapons and all type of things that have been taken directly out of his possession. And I'm going to get your perspective after adding this small bit of information. Okay. I want to analyze this without including this, but I just have to note that this is a guy who is known for, the original Thug, popular mainstream Tupac popularized the concept.
Right.
We can just look at the amount of masculinity that he attempted to maintain and present. Now, the second wave of an individual popularizing Thug is Young Thug. He's the next Thug in the entertainment business, art culture, street, plus influential.
Right.
So if you look at the time gap and then the image of what a Thug is being, Young Thug is known for wearing lipstick.
Oh, yeah, and dresses.
Calling his male affiliates boo, bae, hubby.
Oh, yeah, okay. I kind of heard about that.
All right. Now, factor all that in with, here it is, you comfortable going that far against the grain. However, to his credit, I want to say that prior to today, he has a male child. And he's been comfortable going public denouncing those antics based on the fact he doesn't like the influence it will have on his child. And I know what being a father to a man does, a man's seed does to a responsible man. It does cause you to naturally make adjustments. So to his credit, I believe he does not conduct himself in that manner anymore. But I find it real interesting that in his bail hearing, he goes to court, and out of all the things he presents in the public of defiance, he's in there begging, literally begging for leniency. And not only begging, he's posturing in prayer. One thing I know about the mafia and the gangsters of old, the Italians and those type of people, on a daily basis, they posture themselves as decent people. Mm-hmm. And even when they developed a reputation of notoriety of being pretty ruthless, when they ended up in court, they never beg. They sit with...
they sit with like a posture and they sit there and wait. They quiet.
They let the... Thank you.
Let the attorneys...
So how do you compare that to someone who walks around and records themselves in imagery and in audio as being a demon, not giving about nothing. But then when you get in, it's let me out, please. Okay, the floor is yours. That's my thoughts on Young Thug's bail hearing and him not getting out. And I'll just add this. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Take your time.
As sophisticated as his organization has become, he's finally faced with the RICO. He's in jail. Okay, we playing chess. They got you. You see, they've been in your business way longer than you thought they have. Way more intricate. Guess what? The goofiest thing that I've heard reported most recently.
What's that?
They have recordings of him on the phone since he's been in jail. On a phone with incriminating conversation, but it's a phone that the police sent into the jail, hoping that he would take the bait.
That he would say something.
And
he did it?
Yeah. Your thoughts,
Oh my
please.
gosh. Whack. Trash. Absolute trash. One, like, I just feel like that's just like the thing to be now. It's just like all big and bad over, like over the media in general, social media, the news, all that. Like, oh yeah, I'm tough, this and that, like, or in your lyrics or whatever, and you have this influence. But then it's like, okay, now the big boys are on you. Now you want to act like, okay, that's being hypocritical. Like that's being a hypocrite. Like
so
acting one way, and
it's extremely ineffective. So
it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're literally incriminating yourself at every chance taken turn. Like, you have not learned yet to be quiet. Like, where are you planning on capitalizing off this? Like Tekashi? Like, what is the like? Is this another wave of like, this is how we snitch? Like, this time, like, let's put everything out there and like what are you doing? Are you really that? Like, are you really that smart? Or are you just a puppet?
Let me play a clip for you real quick, please. Thank you.
And based upon the court's consideration of the proffer, the two things that the court has significant concerns about are him being a danger to the community and flight. And I'll state for the purposes of the record and purposes of my decision that I realize that Mr. Williams is presumed innocent. I realize that he has the presumption of innocence stays with him until the state, by sufficient evidence, is able to prove to a jury's satisfaction beyond a reasonable doubt, I should say, that he is guilty of the offense or offenses charged. But however, in this particular circumstance, there has been significant proffers about Mr. Williams as being a danger to the community. In particular, the state's proffer that they have taken proffers from other gang members and people who are in this particular indictment and they're not in this indictment, that he is the leader of the gang, he is dangerous, and if he crosses them, he'll kill them or their families. And the predicate or the review of the state, the concerns that I have are some of the statements that he's made about the threats and to others, and that have been chronicled in particular in some of the predicate acts that have been stated for the courts.
Well, that's pretty much Judge Glanville. I've heard that before, but I'm glad you played that since she's a little less familiar with.
I think I've seen that particular clip, but it's just like, do we really believe that he's going to do these things?
Which things in particular?
Like the threats, like when they're saying like, oh,
I definitely am not going to lend any credence to the fact that he may do those things, because I'm always free to innocent until proven guilty. You know what I'm saying? I want to see. My thing is this: I know what it sounds like when them folks get to talking. And my name is Williams, so I can personalize the way that sounds. And if they was talking about me as Mr. Williams in that fashion, I understand why he's praying. At his bail hearing, he's had this posture the whole time.
Please don't.
Yes.
Please, sir, please.
Yes, but with Young Thug in particular, there's a question as to who are you actually praying to?
I mean, he says he's a demon. So.
Yeah, and he displays a lot of demonic, or he has displayed a lot of demonic imagery. If you ask me the way he tries to blend the thug with the thottery. When he was coming, Mr. Thottery, thuggery, that is demonic in the in itself.
The way the syllabuses are.
Yeah, because it's one or the other, in my opinion. But maybe in the future it will be slightly different. He may be on the mission to effect that change. But I do find it unfortunate and ironic. You mentioned Takuchi earlier. Do you realize Young Thug, YSL, if you just take his name out of it, take the names out of it, it's kind of similar to Shotty and the 9 Trey. This is a whole nother organization comprised of street natives that got into a lucrative industry situation, didn't deny or turn down their street affiliation, and the feds was sitting right there watching the whole thing. And right before you went booyah big, guess what? We have a whole collection. It's
Of all your stuff.
It's the same blueprint.
Like, if you don't do stuff, like, just be...
You got to get,
like,
y'all, quit documenting and making a diary of your actual illegal activities. You
gotta think way, like, there's level. There has to be, like in a lot of lyrics, there's levels to this shit. There has to be levels. You can't do everything like front face surface. Otherwise you will get caught up. Because if you just doing everything out in the open, it's very easy for you to, okay, let's send our unit in with these guys. And then, like, let's just have him wear a cam since they're not checking nobody. So,
bro,
and like,
Young
bam.
Thug, you took the phone that the police sent you, my nigga.
Why would you do that?
I
would only take things my attorney gives me only.
My perceive is this how deep it is. Yeah, your attorney only, and that it should be a safeguard. But I wouldn't even take a phone from my attorney in this
day and age.
Yeah, in this situation, because even if my attorney's intentions are 100 proof, we don't know what intel they got to get on whatever he's offering me. These phones, this shit is there is nothing private about nothing going on. We've been exposed to that. I don't want to get off the subject, but the thing is this, on God, on my mama, look, it's 2022. Ain't no in the world a multimillionaire, highly influential nigga in his position. Fuck the mistakes you made to get in that position. Ain't no way in the world you supposed to make that mistake while you're in that position in real time. He received a phone and got to talking, incriminating himself on a phone because he think he's so slick that he got a cell phone that he ain't supposed to have. I'm the man. He thinking it's ego involved because your ego making you think somehow you maneuvered as a high profile to get this phone you ain't supposed to have, not realizing the only way it happened is so impossible is because they gave it to you. But your ego allowed you to think you pulled off something so slick.
Pride is a hell of a thing, and so is ego.
The Bible says, pride goeth before a fall, and a haughty spirit before destruction. I've learned to be humble in life. I've been humbled by events. There's a confidence that is very close to arrogance that you have to be comfortable with balancing.
Oh, yeah. Everything has to be a balance.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it's about playing your balance. A lot of people just let one thing slide because it's just too hard to balance it out. That's why you get addictions and stuff too. Because you're just like, I like this feeling way more.
I know you. Do not for one moment think I am being disrespectful.
Oh no, absolutely not. I told him earlier I like the smell.
She has her own. She has her own.
My own little.
No. Where is it? She has. She
stash.
got, yeah. There you go.
I have my own little stash. I just didn't. I didn't bring. So I.
She's a lady. She smokes like a lady. I appreciate a lady that smokes like a lady. I cannot stand a female that go blunt for blunt with me. That is disgusting.
Look, I like how I am when I get my little puff on and I cruise off mine and we have great conversations. I don't get stuck. I don't get lost, and I'm looking
forward to the opportunity of detoxing and then getting back on that level.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been there since a teen.
That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. But once you get there, then
yes, I have a unavoidable circumstance in my life where I believe that's going to cause me to have to detox for about 30 to 40 days. And I know once that's imposed upon me, I'm going to commit myself. And I'm already looking forward. I have no idea how soon that time period is coming. It could be within the next 4 months. It could be within the next 12 months. But I know it's coming. Mm-hmm. But I'm already anticipating exercising the discipline, the detox, and then having the moment of
Doing it.
And yeah.
Getting down with the nitty gritty.
Yeah, 'cause the most memorable times in my life of experiencing that is like when you parole from prison. So even if you've been smoking while you're in prison, it's like typically it's still like you a detox because it's such a smaller level. And when the first day you get out and smoke regular, how high you be, I want to be that high. Or when I was teen, smoking behind my mama back,
nice.
going to the football game, how the shit just used to, the whole shit was just the shit. I want to have that feeling again. Yeah.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, for real.
And don't let people punk you. Like having them 1 or 2 puffs and letting it cruise however long, those are the best times. Like
I'm coming back to that.
Because a lot of people, they're like, oh, you weak, you smoke like 1 hit and then you're done. I'm like, yeah, exactly. 1 hit, I'm done. That's why my 8th lasts for months and like I'm chilling. And then I have my little puff piece on the side.
You remind me of my daughter with that one. She keep her little electrode.
Yeah.
Kurt
Well, I
Burt.
have my flower too. So like, I have both and I'm chilling where you just went through 3 ounces this week. And
Whoa. And you got to be careful just announcing in such a sensual, seductive voice that you got your flower too. So, flower brings on a whole nother connotation with a female. I got my flower too. There's a popular flower.
Oh yeah. Well, I
didn't want to go
very well versed.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go adult, but
no worries.
Factz Ova Feelinz is the podcast. I would like to clarify just that title for a moment because I am fully aware how important facts are.
Yes,
and, feelings, and how deep they are and how passionate people are about their feelings.
Oh yeah.
I arrived to that title as a certain mental place in life in general when I think about public discussion. Because if we all as human beings can be at a table of public discussion trying to reach a bottom line, which is another line, a word of mine you'll get familiar with, bottom line, because I believe we're always in public discussion, should be in a journey to get to a bottom line. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Yeah, what is the point?
That's our destination as a public discussion forum, is to get to a bottom line. And in an effort to get to a bottom line, when feelings being validated by everyone here, we know how real they are and everybody's entitled to them. Mm-hmm. We can all also acknowledge that if we rely on our personal feelings, as unique as they all are, if we bring them to a public forum trying to get to a bottom line, we're going to have chaos. Because I got to agree, first, you're entitled to your feelings.
Right.
They're validated. And so am I. So is he, she, he. And those feelings can be as far apart from one another on a spectrum as you can imagine. And they're equally valid because they're feelings. But here we are as a group, and we have to utilize what we can utilize in order to get to a bottom line. We have to eliminate the feelings for this public discussion, and let's deal with the facts. Things that we can all agree upon. And if we take our feelings out of it, guess what I can't do? I can't hurt or offend your feelings.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
And you can't do mine. And that's where I get now. When we say facts over feelings, we don't mean facts, not feelings. It just becomes to a point where we discussing, I want to hear about your feelings. I want to be able to share mine. But when we get to a point of disagreeing, we have to use some type of scale to see how we're going to go forward to get to the bottom line. And at that point, it's time to eliminate feelings. And let's see what the facts indicate.
Yeah, get to the facts.
Yeah, there we go. Factz Ova Feelinz.
Yeah.
Name of the podcast. You here with SPI, the most easty and the most elevated individual I've met in a long time. Please give me some texture, context to the term elevated. Explain that to the people who wonder why, because I'm very clever with my words. I don't want to act like that's my word. That's your word.
Yes, this is my word. Elevated came from... I just love us as a people and how we think. And when I mean as a people, I mean melanated people. Like we come in all shapes, sizes, and different colors, from the lightest of light to the darkest black that you can see, which I think is beautiful. I think that's such an array of beauty in one, culture is just a wonderful thing. And so I started to actually speak. For a long time I did not speak. It's actually a issue, not an issue, but it's a condition that when you get like really depressed, sometimes you mute yourself. You have adult mutism. And I realized that I had that. So I wasn't speaking at all. I just was sitting at home. I just wasn't saying anything. I would listen a lot, but I wasn't really speaking. And when people would come over, I wouldn't really talk, and I just didn't say anything. But then now that I'm learning to know myself and know what I'm about, talking to different people that are like me has really opened my mind, because like a lot of people even think with me when they see me, when they first meet me, oh, she must be from here, and she must be, she must have grew up in this area and had this kind of lifestyle.
So I just want to interject real quick. Please don't lose where you are. Please
No worries,
drop a
no
pen.
worries, no worries.
So from the way you sound, appear, and present yourself, if I had to throw a dart and pick an area, knowing you're from Southern California, I would say Cerritos, San Fernando Valley, maybe Palos Verdes area, Torrance. Where are you native to in Southern California?
I am from Compton.
City of Compton. Woo, born
Yeah.
and raised in Compton. Shout out to
A lot of rappers talk about the street that I live off of,
Woo.
Greenleaf.
bodies being found on Greenleaf.
Yeah. So, just like a lot of people have that stigma, like, what does a girl from Compton sound like? We can sound like this too. We can sound intelligent too. We know how to hold our P's and Q's, and just speak our minds and just be here and without being just an obnoxious, like arrogant or cocky or whatever they perceive that to be in their
reminds me of a phrase I heard you use earlier. I love alliteration, and you used it so casually that it reminds me. You said there's levels and layers.
Yeah, there's layers to this shit. There's layers to me, y'all. Like, I've been blessed to have a very colorful family, so a lot of stigmas or issues, they've never been issues for me growing up. And, just watching how my family grew up and how my cousins and my siblings and my aunts and my uncles and how they were all raised and how they acted upon their life has influenced my life to be a certain way. And just like I said, with my grandmother, she just always was like, you speak with articulation, and just because we are from a certain place doesn't define who we are. So who are you, Lauren?
Indeed.
And I am a very well-spoken, articulated young woman because that is who I choose to be. So I'm well-read. I read books. I also love to game. I also like to speak. But when I was going
when you
through
say
that,
game, on what level? Like,
look, there's little levels to that. Like, I used to be really good, but then I fell off for a long time. But I'm now getting back into it.
What genre, like, of games?
Oh, a variety. I do play Call of Duty. A sniper is my weapon of choice.
Do you have a tag where you can be found?
Awesome Acid. ACYD, because you know why? Because I'm a trip.
And I know the answer to this question because I was the dummy that asked in a public platform in front of people, and I asked, I'm gonna ask her right now, like, what system do you play on?
I play PS4 and I play Xbox.
She said it way more cocky when I asked, like have it your way. What you want it on? Like,
I grew up on the PlayStation, actually Nintendo. My grandparents had Nintendo, and then with the cartridges where you classic, and then
you come from a very so borderline young era of being aware of then and now.
Yeah, I'm a 90s baby.
Yeah,
so.
which brings me to a thought of another current event that really crossed my mind. Is interesting. You are a boy mom. Is that how they term it these days?
Yes, okay. I'm a boy mom. I have a son.
Azariah, my Nia. Love you, nephew. All right, so shout out to the youngin'. But there is currently an issue with the Major League Baseball, where I believe we're currently in Pride Month.
Yes.
I know you, and just from your general presentation to the world, I know how you are all-inclusive of all people. They're members of our group, whether it's been announced or not, that are obviously of a certain community, and there's respect extended to everyone. Everybody deserves a voice, a platform, a place.
Yeah, absolutely.
In our society. How do you balance that with being a boy mom? I also can understand the traditional ideals you have for your son as far as life is concerned, without being offensive to anyone. And I'm not putting you in any box. I just heard you express
It's who I am.
your energy in your life and what you would love to see your son grow up to be. How do you balance that with issues such as in baseball recently today, there are a few group of players, I'm not sure if they're melanated or not, I would assume that they were, and I may be wrong, but I stumbled across a headline where it seems like the Major League Baseball had a campaign to where almost everybody was involved with during Pride Month, adding some form of a rainbow to their attire, similar to how when breast cancer comes along.
Yeah, the pink ribbon. And
when you talk about gateway drugs and shit, I always, as much as, okay, the breast cancer was the pink, one of the most masculine environments in the world, when they started just splashing with pink, I figured it was something next. And then here it comes, the next play was the rainbow. And I want to salute whoever these gentlemen are, but they had the courage amidst a bunch of controversy stating that they weren't comfortable wearing the rainbow. This is not something that they want to do. This is not a lifestyle that they participate in, not one that they're protesting against, but it's not one that they desire to promote either.
Right.
It's simple as that. And that general mind frame is met with a lot of opposition these days. But however, I think they were met with success in their refusal to participate. And I'm just curious to get your perspective on how do you navigate as a single mother, if you didn't mind me.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay.
I'm a single mom, y'all. It's all right.
Yeah,
we're out here too.
You have a young king, a young boss that.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
You're I know what you would like to build him up to be up until 18, 21, 22. So how do you balance all of that in this current time?
Well, let me play a clip on the issue you're talking about.
Please do. Please do.
And the LGBTQ community is very popular nowadays, and there's a lot of ways you can look at this. You may think it's great that people are being celebrated for their sexuality, or you may think it's dumb. You may think it's great that these sexualities are being publicized and made into a great deal, or you think it's bad and feel people are basically getting it forced upon them. Nonetheless, big corporations feel that they need to, or at least should, promote the LGBTQ community. As most of you may know, June has been deemed Pride Month. There are parades in celebration of it, and like I said, there are many organizations that are promoting and honoring Pride Month. Major League Baseball and its teams are some of those many supporting it. The Twitter accounts and social medias are tweeting all about it, and even some of the teams are putting a Pride-themed logo on the jerseys for a day, jerseys that some players have rejected. Last year, in June of 2021, the San Francisco Giants became the first team to have a Pride logo on their jersey. And now, the Tampa Bay Rays have done the same for this year during their Pride Night at the field. With that being said, the letters LGBTQ can be a little controversial. And with that comes argument and rejection. Rejection of the uniforms the Rays had their players wear. 5 players, all pitchers on the Tampa Bay Rays, refused to wear the Pride logo on their jersey.
Can we pause it, please?
Jason Adam, Jalen Beeks.
Just for a moment of irony and comedy, pitching and receiving is a term. Go ahead.
I'm dead.
5 pitchers. Go ahead.
We'll play 30 more seconds.
Okay.
Brooks Raley, Jeffrey Springs, and Ryan Thompson reportedly ditched the custom jerseys and hats featuring the rainbow-colored lettering and instead wanted the standard typical uniforms. Jason Adam ended up being the player to speak for the 5 who opted out of wearing those uniforms, saying that a lot of it comes down to faith and that it was a faith-based decision. Adam also had more to say, talking about how they all said that they want them to know that they are all welcome and loved here, but when it's on their bodies, a lot of guys decided that it's just a lifestyle that they don't want to encourage if they believe in Jesus, who's encouraged them to live a lifestyle.
With or without the Jesus, that's the point I was making. Like, okay, it's okay if you do that, but when you start trying to force it on me,
yeah. It's all about your choice.
What's the equal reverse? So now can I force you to wear something that just promotes heterosexuality? Like, what the frickety-frackety you know what else I think is very arrogant? For them to steal something as beautiful as the fucking rainbow.
Yeah, the rainbow, and turn it into
something
a political.
You see how colorful this is? I can imagine a shirt just like this with every other color.
Yeah,
but they've robbed me. I would wear it. I'm confident enough, but they robbed me of that. You
could do it.
Y'all, thank you.
You can still do it.
I will only do it if you was there holding me down, providing perspective and balance, and I would do it because y'all see where I get. I know I could, but I just think it's crazy that they were able to I think someone else needs to take that and utilize it to represent themselves as well, to offer balance, because I do not believe the rainbow has anything to do with anyone's sexuality. However, I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, and I get uneasy watching baby programming just because they utilize every color so much.
Oh yeah.
Now, because of the fact what the rainbow represents, I probably would watch this shit without thinking nothing, like it's okay. But it seems like in every frame, every color is utilized, no matter what they're promoting.
Well, scientifically, they've shown that different colors incite different responses. So for those videos, kids are more
program minds that young to be so engaged with every color constantly, the whole spectrum, even though they're all involved in black, not black, but the rainbow. And then at the same time, there's such an effort to meet that youth as soon as you can with the representation,
with technology,
but the representation of those colors in the adult world.
Yeah.
They want that to be, they have, Dwayne Wade took his minor son to pride events where the most flamboyant displays of this expression are on. So he was comfortable taking an 11, 12-year-old boy who was engaged with these thoughts and going through whatever, with no offense to anyone. They're marrying adolescence with the expression of sexuality at a rate in real time in mainstream media that we've never seen before, without it being the question of LBGQT.
Yeah.
All that,
it's always LGBT.
all love to everybody, God's children. Without that being involved, this depth of sexual conversation with a child has always been deemed abuse. If you ever found any adult spoke to your children about any of these subjects outside of the realm of them trying to normalize this new norm, that's abuse. I don't want anyone discussing
sexual things with my kid.
And if you realize,
so then does that mean that you as a parent need to have discussions at an earlier age when your child can comprehend?
Yes, and guess what it's forced me to do? Have a conversation that I cannot divulge to the public. I have a 13, 14, 15-year-old sons. So if you think about the progression of these issues and the time frame that I was involved in shaping the mentality of 3 young men, the conversations I had with them, I'm not allowed, I can't have in the public, because I believe the message that was opposite of the message that I would instill in them was being so aggressively presented by society, the media, and the world, that I had to present a message equally or more aggressive, and it's not a publicly accepted message. So
I'm listening.
Yeah, I know
I'm
you
a
are.
mom. I'm a mom,
No,
guys.
I know. I am fully aware of your capability to listen, research, and speak at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to tell you a thing just on that subject. In my 8th grade graduation, I went to a private school in Torrance, California, and I was born and raised in Compton as well. I was actually born in my birth certificate. It says town Compton. Yeah. Dominguez Valley Hospital no longer exists. Okay. So, but I went to school in Torrance and through 7th to 10th grade, and I can remember on my 8th grade graduation that the teacher, Miss Northrop, she mentioned like 3-4 students out of the whole class. Everyone outside of myself, and she saved me for last, that she mentioned were white, Asian, or something of that nature. And when she mentioned them, she mentioned something extremely positive about their academia, their creativity, something just everybody can clap for off top. And you would have thought when she got to the end of the 3rd person, that would be the completion of her student mentions. And then she took it upon herself to say, and then I have to mention one more student, and it was me. She said, this is the only student I know in my whole, she's an old white lady, been teaching for years, only I ever had in my class, and she taught me through 7th to 8th grade. This is my 8th grade graduation. I got 2 sons graduating on the 10th of this month from 8th grade, Kermon and Curvell, love y'all. But I was graduating from 8th grade, and the teacher said, this is the only student I ever had in my class that can hold on 3-4 conversations in class. When I try to catch him off guard and ask him a question about what I'm talking about, he can explain everything I've been talking about for the last 2 hours. So she took the moment to say that, and then I just want to flash to my 12th grade graduation. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just sharing. My
No,
12th grade graduation, I went to a private school, Seventh-day Adventist school in Glendale, California. You know the distance between Compton and Glendale. I was bused from Compton to Glendale every morning for my 11th to 12th grade year. So myself, my friend Shira, and Don Arsenault, we probably were 3 of 5 blacks in our graduating class. They were very prominent people whose children attended this school. Once again, the teacher that gave the speech at the graduation was a white individual. His name was Mr. Ziesmer. And I swear to God, this is 4 years later in my life, totally different school, 4-year experience with totally different people. And as he gave his speech, he chose to speak on about 4 students. Swear to God, he spoke on 3 of them, and everything he had to say about them was about honor roll and how excellent they were and how great of an impact, how much of a pleasure it was being their teacher. And then he got to a point where you thought it was over with, and he said, I have to mention one more student. I swear to God, it's like a template, a fucking blueprint. But he was so creative. He did me like this in front of everybody. He was like, now, with this student, we've had some good times and we had some bad times. He said, I made a list of a few of the bad times. And then he reached under the podium. And you remember how the old computer paper used to be stuck together, that stack? He had a long shit of that. He said, I made a list. And he wrote. It was the hit of the whole graduation. No matter, everything else was a traditional, excellent graduation. But when he did that moment, it was so you just, I go off, you drifted me off on that when you talk about where that took place.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Easy call. Anything for the most elevated female I've met in my life.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes.
Well, to conclude on, well, not to conclude, but with elevated, such a beautiful array of people, and then their perspective isn't always, for me, is an elevated mindset. So I was like, the melanin people and elevation of the mind, melavated people and the elevation of the mind. And then I said, wait a minute.
It's so
people
simple,
of the
so deep.
elevated.
Preach. Because it's like
the elevation of the melanin mind, melavated.
Yeah, when you say melavated, an attempt to expound, you almost...
It goes on.
You don't want to say elevated because you don't want to say melanin or elevated because it's like duh.
It's both, and it's something way more than what you can even melavated. Is so many things. You're just starting to see the creation of it. Once it gets to where it needs to go,
copy mark, trademark. Copy mark. Trademark immediately, like yesterday.
Yes, I am in the process.
And whatever the poor man's copyright trademark can provide, we are establishing ownership. If
get
on it right now,
ownership. That is my name.
Elevated. Yeah, okay, that's what we do.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I just, I didn't want to be offensive to any group of people at all. I just found it interesting that I can recall having young boys in the youth football system, how I had to balance my feelings and thoughts on how much pink had infiltrated the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew it was under a good cause, and who can be against that? Fuck cancer currently, consistently, continuously on my mama. However, would I know the plight of black masculinity in America, being emasculated, but I understand a lot that's going on. I was very keyed in on the concept that pink had just been so associated with one of the most masculine, roughest, toughest pastimes we knew. And I saw it kind of fade away. And I'm just not surprised to see that in major sports, here is the rainbow. I was blown away to see that last year during Pride Month, 30 days, the White House, when the sun went down. Thank you.
Had the flag.
Yeah, so, hey, this is America, and I'm gonna let you.
My last couple thoughts. First couple thoughts.
This is America.
I think that, if you wanna rock that, cool. I feel like it should be an option. Like, okay, this is what we're celebrating as a country this month. If you want to participate, cool. Here, wear this on your uniform. If you don't, cool. Like, at the end of the day, once I take off that uniform, I'm going home to my wife, my kids, my house, my whatever, and I run my shit how I run my shit at home, and you can't say shit about it. So, for me, it's like I just I tune in and I'm playing the game, or watching the game or whatever, and then I go home. So whatever you choose to do with that is on you.
Can you, for the sake of the conversation, put yourself in the shoes of a player that is approached with your income being challenged with, hey, I want you to wear this?
Yeah, it shouldn't.
What was your personal?
I feel like that should. I feel like it's part of politics, and what do they always say? Politics should be left out of the workplace. Like, I'm here to bat. So what does that have to do? If I don't want to wear those colors or whatever, then it's my right to say, hey, look, I don't want to.
Even though it's your right, at what point do you, as an individual, and I'm pretty familiar with your character, so I know you might be willing to die on this hill, but in all reality, when there's a lucrative lifestyle right on the opposite side of being silent, at what point do you make it an issue personally? Are you just think about it right now? They're saying, hey, you can continue being rich and successful the way you are if you just do this. Whether you agree with it or not, you got families and friends that are perhaps amongst that. Some people you love. Is it something that you say, I refuse to do, or do you just say, fuck it, go ahead, because I need to check, it's no big deal?
No, I'm not going to contradict or I'm not going to stop.
My sister.
I'm not going to stop being. The whole point of part of life is to be who you are. If I have to alter who I am in order to make this money, then I guess our contract ends here, and I will find another route. I guess there's something else for me to do that I'm not focusing on, so let me do that. If I've been rich to this point where I don't have enough money saved up to be able to even make those kind of moves, to be like, oh, well, this is all then I didn't deserve it anyway. What was the lesson in that? That earning, where did that get me if I didn't have the next move already saved up?
What does it profit a man?
Yeah, like you supposed to keep going. Michael Jordan didn't stay in basketball. He went to race cars. He went to golf. He didn't just, this is my end all be all. No, he's still to this day searching out other means and other ways. And I think that if you're just constantly stuck in one spot, even Kobe, he had a school. He was working on, this is not.
Why do we get robbed of such great energy? Like, can you imagine the potential of what would have been? I put Nipsey in the same category.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, for the people that are on the streets that literally see the grind every day, like Nipsey meant a lot to those, people like that, people like me. Man.
Right, rest in peace to the greats.
Oh, yeah.
24-8 and the late great neighborhood in there, the crib.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, rest in peace. Rest in peace brings my mind to another current event. It's one of the oldest themes, love. And it seems, I think it was Indianapolis. I'm not sure. I think it was Indianapolis. But
I don't believe so.
No, well, I'm just saying, like, y'all got to be careful out there, man. Like, it's just, when I think about these type of stories, first thing come to my mind, because I have been indoctrinated biblically all my life, and my thoughts on the Bible at this point in my life, a lot of my object lessons and just references are the first things come up in my mind. So from my original thought of the original humans was Adam and Eve. So when I hear about what just took place in Indianapolis, my first thought is Adam, everything on the line behind her. That's the story I was told. I'm not saying I'm pushing, promoting that story, but my subconscious has been programmed as that's my initial reference. So I don't even take myself through the point of discrediting the story. I just know symbolically whether that happened or not. It could have been written in a book or a movie. A lot of times you see even motivational speakers, they'll refer to a fucking fictional film to draw and make a metaphor, a parable. So I utilize the story in that sense, regardless if it happened or not. Within this story, there's an object lesson. So Adam, the first man, bam, it was her. And then my reference biblically, next chronologically, you get Samson. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the story of Samson. The strongest.
Oh, yeah, Samson and Delilah. Yes. I'm very.
Okay. Oh, yeah, how your voice changed. You said, yeah, I better pay attention, y'all. Look. So Delilah, amongst all things, was promoted as fair upon the eyes, but she was supposed to be undesirable from a integrity standpoint for Samson to choose as a mate. He chose her anyway. Samson, if you're not familiar with the story, was the strongest, most effective tool that the good people had on their side. Strongest man, could tie 10 oxen up by the tails, killed 20 men with the jaw, all this. He the strongest man ever. Long story short, this is the part that fucks me up. Samson fucking with Delilah. She a baddie, right? She from the other side, though. This story tells us that Delilah begged Samson to tell her over and over again, Samson, why are you so strong? Why are you so strong, Samson? Which is supposed to be a secret. The secret was attached to this long hair he had, and he was a Nazarite, whatever, and the whole thing with his legacy was don't never cut his hair or he'll be weak as a baby.
Be weak, yeah.
So this female that he was fucking on asked him over and over again, like, check it out, Samson. Please tell me I love you. Why you so strong? And Samson knew he wasn't supposed to never tell nobody. He told the bitch like a series of lies. Maybe 3, 4, 5 times the Bible documents him lying to her. Like he would tell her, like, if you tie me up with this certain type of rope while I'm asleep, it'll make me weak. And everything he told her, he would wake up the next day and the bitch tried it. Yet and still, the story don't stop there. Samson, according to the Bible, eventually, she's still asking, Samson, what makes you so strong? This nigga woke up bald head with his eyes poked out, all over the punani.
So blind and...
Yeah, and so let's take me from the Garden of Eden. We going to Samson and Delilah. Now we in Indianapolis, 2022. That nigga Scarface had one of the most memorable lines I ever heard him rap was, I don't even remember what he rhymed with this, but the last line was, pussy, a nigga quick as downfall, swear to God. Didn't somebody die behind the power of love in Indianapolis?
Yeah, so basically, a man cheated on his girl, and she tracked him with her air follower. I don't have Apple products, so
GPS. Yeah, I hate that's why I do not enjoy it.
A little GPS tracker. She tracked him to a local bar where the woman was, and there was an altercation, and a bottle was about to be was
delivered atop someone's.
Yeah. It was. She was aiming for the female, but then the male got it, and then he ended up getting run over by a car.
Wow.
A couple of times, and then he died. And I just don't think that it's worth it. Like, as far as a relationship, like, nobody is worth the trouble. If he's cheating on you, if you found him cheating or whatever, then whatever. Like, pack your shit and go. Like, or, cry to yourself and then break up with him if that's your place, whatever. But it's not worth life and death.
Did she stab him? Did she shoot him? No, you don't have to do that. You know what she allegedly utilized a vehicle to run him down, reverse over him, and then put the car in drive again and go over his body again. This is the method in which he reportedly met his death.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a little 2-minute clip for you.
Thank you. You good.
Murder. And that's after police say she intentionally drove over a man on the north side. Fox 59's Jesse Wells explains the motive for that violence.
Police believe the death here in this parking lot was domestic related. That's why the domestic violence awareness advocate for the city hopes the case sends an important message to anyone involved in an unhealthy relationship. Just after midnight, police were called to this parking lot outside Tilly's Pub on 82nd Street, where emergency crews found a 26-year-old man dead underneath a car. That victim was identified as Andre Smith, who leaves behind a young child and a grieving family. Court records claim the suspect, 26-year-old Gaylyn Morris, told witnesses she believed Smith was cheating on her with another woman and tracked him to the pub using GPS, where she ran over him 3 times in the parking lot before being arrested for murder.
We don't want to continue to be on the news talking about death when it could have been prevented.
Daniette Smith, the director of Indy's Domestic Violence Prevention Program, says while domestic violence calls to IMPD over the first few months of 2022 have gone down compared to the end of 2021, there has been one noticeable increase.
And we are noticing that there are more calls to IMPD coming from males in reference to, females being the suspect. So we want to make sure that everyone knows that domestic violence doesn't discriminate.
And while Andre Smith's family was too emotional to talk about the death on camera, Daniette reminds everyone that resources and advocates are available to help prevent domestic violence before it turns deadly.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's not that. Just think about it. In today's climate, even the scope of domestic violence, the genders are switching places now.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Like, I guess it's always been a thing.
Right.
But women never used to get arrested.
Of course.
Now they're going to jail.
Right. And you know what else is indicative? The way the cross sports, like, I always wonder how this was going to affect domestic violence application. Is it now? So if you walked in here with French braids, sagging your pants, and some Jordans, and a fucking wife beater, talking about my name Lil Ice, we gotta respect that, right? Because that's what the world is. So then now, even if I can't even call you ma'am, if I see you have to be Mr. if you claim. So now, is mutual combat equal now, or is it? Domestic
they're
violence?
gonna have to address a lot of these things because then it's like, okay, then it's all hell's hands loose for everybody.
Yes, and it's not fair.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, it's not because woman is.
Am I no longer supposed to, like, when I see you in public and we get to the door, not hold the door open anymore? Is that thrown out the window because I might offend someone who looks feminine, who feels masculine? Me just being polite, me saying, thank you, ma'am, that is offensive generally now. You realize that? Wow, welcome to the Twilight Zone. But I don't want to get off subject.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, that's crazy. And,
No, first of all, I feel like we got to do better as far as how to portray relationships, because right now it's all about being like toxic and just out there. And I know we were talking about this in the DUI close. You hate the word. I heard it. No,
I swear to God. I thought the word 1,000 times, and I was wondering, and I was going to point out when we finished the subject that I tried to avoid it, but you did it. Toxic.
Okay, yeah, it's just toxicity. Like, oh yeah, like I slashed my baby daddy tires, and then he broke out my windows, but it's cool because I set his stuff on fire, and then I poured bleach on, and it's like that's like hyped, and then like
on the opposite end of that is him saying, "Look, she sprung. That bitch love me. Look what she did."
Look, yeah.
That's the real evidence.
Yeah, and that's not the point. That is not healthy. That is not healthy at all. And I think if we start stepping in and putting our foot down, like, what is you doing? Why are you pouring bleach? No, don't pour bleach on his clothes, or no, don't act like this. Walk away, take a walk, take a hike. And then when you are calmer, then decide what you want. You want to keep dealing with this shit, or you want to go? You want to leave? If you want to keep dealing with this shit, address your personal issues.
I hate to bring it back to the Bible, but even whatever we want to think about it, even that old ancient book says for a man to see his wife engaged in said activities is enough to bring him to kill. Are you familiar with that perspective coming from the Bible? Yeah, it is a very founded concept. It says specifically, not in those words, but with that, it doesn't say it's okay, but the Bible acknowledges for a man to have to see that is enough to bring him to kill. So I don't give a fuck how casual our current society wants to make intimate engagement. There is an attachment element involved that is undeniable.
You got sometimes when you lay with somebody.
Thank you. We got to be careful, y'all.
Yeah, you got to. There's layers. See, we gonna keep doing that.
And
there's
levels.
layers to this.
No, layers alone is not. I like the way you put the layers.
Layers and levels to this.
That's
yeah.
the title. We tagging that title.
Okay,
That's
cool.
That's gonna
Yeah.
be another segment.
There's layers and levels.
Layers
to
and
this
levels.
shit.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things. You see, I can't even, because it's like there's so many things, but it's like if you engaging, and that's why I think this is why when I was dating, I said I want to be courted. Courtship is so different because you have to only get to know people just based off of conversation and like how you were like hanging out. Like usually back in the day, courtship used to have a chaperone because you couldn't be by yourself with somebody. So that way it leaves the sexual, all that extra to the mind. So if you really, really want that, you got to marry this person. You got to take care of this person. So, but now it's a free for all, which I mean, it's fine. If that's what you want to do, that is completely fine. I encourage people to live your lives the way you deem that they should be, because at the end of the day, you're the only one that has to lay down with yourself at the end of the night. It doesn't matter if you have somebody cuddled up with you. They may not be cuddled up with you tomorrow, next week, or next month, or they just may be gone. So you're the only person that's buried by yourself at the end of your life, and you're the only one that has to reflect on your actions throughout your life. So I am always encouraging all that. But when it comes to, if you do decide to lay with someone, do you decide to have a baby with somebody, share a soul with somebody?
Be careful. I know many who have stepped into that realm without the proper consideration. I am amongst them. And I don't cast any negative light upon
absolutely
myself.
not. Absolutely not. It's
the mix has to be appropriate. It doesn't mean I might have been the wrong element in each situation.
People don't think about stuff like that until it's too late. And then as they watch their child grow up and they notice tendencies from the father side or even from themselves. And then they go snap. And then
or just the lack of support in certain things that are important to you from the opposite side. And you never really took the time to investigate how that's going to affect you when you're trying to instill certain things in your upbringing and your counterpart does not even agree with something that's very important to you in regards to child rearing. Those some cold roads to meet and be surprised with, hey, you're not even supporting this alongside of my real passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I swear to God, on my mama, I forgot what we was talking about.
No, we're talking about the soul ties. Look, you guys zoned out. The soul ties and relationships and how there's layers and levels. Yeah.
Indianapolis.
Yeah. I understand. I understand that love is a powerful.
Did he play a clip on this?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Love is powerful. My bad. Let me shut up.
No, you're good.
No, love is powerful.
I just don't think that. One, we were talking about toxicity in relationships and how we need to stop praising it as if it's a good thing or like, yeah, that's what happened with my baby daddy too. And girl, we all in this. No, like we need to like take a step back and go, that's not really healthy. Like for anybody, not for you, not for them, for anything. It's like, okay, now what? Now this person has lost his life. He can never look back on this and go, you know what? And I don't know if this person has kids or not, but like. Okay, yeah, he has kids, so it's like he'll never be able to tell his kids, this is not the way to be, this is how you should go about this in the future, so that way his kids can have a possible. Now they're gonna look and go, this crazy bitch done killed my daddy, and look, and then it's gonna continue.
Gaylyn Morris, you know how much betrayal of trust is involved with being able
to be angry enough
to get off running somebody over.
Oh.
He had to trust you.
She really loved that
no matter
man.
what y'all was
She really
going.
loved that man.
But he had to love her.
Oh, yeah.
He was guards down. The police have been classified a moving vehicle as a deadly weapon. However, they was in the most heated altercation that he could imagine, and he did not view that car like a gun. He would have viewed a gun,
as a
weapon.
Yeah.
He trusted that even when she jumped in, slammed the door in reverse, she finna. But had you got into it with hopefully a stranger, you would have been more aware and apprehensive of
Yeah,
them.
like more cautious.
Yeah, but he
what's
trusted
going on, his
her.
surrounding. Yeah,
And she
that
took
she would not.
advantage.
Yeah, that she would not kill him or
Yeah,
hurt him in that
thank
kind
you.
of way.
It's just like a married couple having a legal firearm in the house and both having equal access to it. Neither of them having to refer to it in any recent time, and now we're having blow up, drag out arguments in the house.
Yeah.
The general consensus is neither of us even think to go and access it, introduce it into the altercation or anything. In this moment, that's what that vehicle was. It was the weapon that a husband and wife that are headed for divorce, Amber and
Gaylyn?
Amber and Johnny.
Oh, Johnny. Sorry. Yeah, that whole thing. Oh my gosh.
Americans, Second
Yeah,
Amendment
so
right.
it was-
There's thousands of guns in our pantry. We have a collection of guns, but here it is. We hate each other. We're arguing. We still are not supposed to go and get a weapon.
Yeah, you're supposed to have the wherewithal to be able to walk away from the situation and de-escalate yourself, not get more elevated by getting into something like a car or going, oh, well, the guns are right there.
So was it simple, ignorant, the power of the D, or was it a mental deficiency?
No, I don't think. I mean, dick can make a girl go crazy, but I mean, there's like you said,
That crazy?
there's a lot of layers to it. I'm sure she loved that man. I don't know how many years she gave him. I don't know how many kids she gave him.
But you know
There's
what
a
they
lot of
telling
things,
me
but I
now?
don't.
They telling me that like niggas is off these prescriptions and all that, right? And
Oh,
from what I
gosh.
understand, they provide a numbness.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to.
But if a man can like replicate what a actual fucking
Toy can do.
yeah, because there's some type of like
More power to him, but see you later.
does he
It's
develop,
really
is that the attachment that he developed, or is it deeper than that? I'm just being facetious, but
no.
okay.
Yeah, it has. Well, for me, it has to be deeper than that. I know. Just because of how.
Do you imagine her unattractive, unappealing in general, and now she feels like that she can't replace whatever? Or
Yeah, like he was worth ending her whole life is over now. Wow. Well, in a sense, it's like
indeed.
like you killed somebody. You can't come back from
Being
killing
incarcerated
someone.
for an undetermined amount of time.
Yeah,
is
and if you
living
get
death.
out, it's like you still gonna have that haunting
Yeah.
over you for the rest of your life. And if you didn't have, if you're not rich, like that's gonna be a hard life to come back from. All because of what?
Cheating.
Because he cheated, girl. Just
Knock it off.
block him, like they say. That's the whole block him and move on.
But homies, men and females first. Women.
If it even has to get to that point, like if
Whoever.
you're stepping out, then just walk away.
But just know this.
If you guys have a mutual agreement to be monogamous with one another, if you guys mutually decide, I don't want you dating anyone else and I don't want you dating anyone else, we are exclusively dating one another. If you have that agreement, whether you put girlfriend, boyfriend, bae, or whatever on the title,
Right.
if that's what you both as adults exclusively agreed on and you stepped outside of that, be man or woman enough to say, hey, I stepped outside, I'm walking away.
Like any other agreement that
yeah.
humans would engage in.
Yeah, just walk away. And then what? And then it'd be over.
That
And
is-
then you move
It's-
on.
As difficult as that sounds.
As easy as it sounds.
and it's
It
easier-
is
and it's
difficult,
easy.
but you got to do it.
It's the most effective MO.
People will respect you a lot more if you just came to the table and said, look, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be with you anymore.
Even the effect you're trying to impose on the other person by being angry, you can be way more effective in adversely affecting them by what she's suggesting. Calmly stepping away completely. Eventually, that will make far more effect upon the person than any other course of action you can take. All this old wild ass emotional lack of control hurts you and the people that matter to you more than anyone involved. And now your life is lost. Homie, check this out. It ain't that deep.
It really isn't.
It ain't. And just think about this, how polluted our brains is as men.
And how old was she? 27. 27, girl. What? And he was how old?
They were the same age. I believe they were both 20.
And how many
my
how
goodness.
many children are left behind?
It doesn't say how many, but more than one because they use plural.
And these babies.
Then what? Now what?
Yeah, what? Now they have a parent that one day they're gonna go, I wish I would have known my dad's like favorite color, or I wonder if my dad listened to this kind of music. Did we have the same kind of taste? I wonder.
How about the mind frame of now? Some youth would use that as an automatic story as to why I'm a fuck up.
Oh yeah.
I don't have no reason.
Well, that's it. My daddy got killed when I was like 3 years old, and I just decided that the world just shitted on me when I was a little kid. So that's just how my life was supposed to end up, shitted on.
Yes. And it's just a very, very tragic situation all the way around.
Depending on how that situation ends up spinning out, it can very much so end up being that way. And why did it have to be that way? Because you got mad because he cheated on you, girl? Or you couldn't be man enough to say, you know what? You and I have been unhappy for quite some time. I have been low-key talking to her. Matter of fact, let's just be done. I'm going on this date. That's where I want to be. And I'm just going to do me. Just be real with it. I mean, if you're already talking to this, it had to have started with a conversation.
Regardless of the outcome, do you think definitely that because it wasn't a gun, it wasn't a knife, that she may not have been intending to do harm but not kill?
The
the
moment that she got into the car and did not drive away from the scene, from that point forward, you made a choice. You breathed in enough. You were reverse, drive, reverse. Like, it doesn't matter. In that split second of a moment, you made a decision, and the decision cost a lot. You affected a lot of people.
I wanna hereby title this segment, "If I Can't Have You,
No One Can."
There you go.
And I just think that's just not smart thinking. There are 8 billion, 7.9, give or takes, it goes ups and downs. I've watched a little counter. But there's 8 billion people on this planet.
A fact that you must keep at the forefront of your understanding when you find yourself not attached to someone, but desiring to be attached. Keep in mind, there's what again? Say it once more. How many?
About 7.9 billion, give or take, up and down, fluctuating.
Think about
8
that.
billion people
Put
on
that
this
in perspective. Every time you find yourself tolerating anything from one individual that you don't desire to tolerate.
And it's even, I think men are 51% and women are 49%. So it's pretty even. I know they say a lot of margin, like, men are less. And no, at this current time, as about 2 weeks ago when I last checked, because I don't check every single day, it's 51% to 49.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So there is somebody, whatever that is for you, there's somebody out there for
That's
you.
more believable now when there's so many alternative types of lifestyles being included as normal.
Some people there's people that like to be treated like dogs.
Thank you.
Just run them. You don't have to go pick an innocent person that wants to live free and be thriving and then treat them like a dog, and then you've crushed their self-existence and crushed their self-esteem, even though they may have been the most confident person. Now they're reduced down to nothing, and then when they,
there are some people who don't feel validated unless they get dogged. So
so go
find
be
one
with
of them.
Why like that? And then come on. But one of the things is you have to be honest with yourself. Are you really ready? Like, do you know what you want in a partner, in a whatever?
That's a very important question.
Do you know what you want?
That is very important thought to address yourself with, because what we find ourselves as males from our culture commonly caught up in is this fucking thwarted mind frame of loyal to my niggas, down with me, nigga, loyal, you can trust me, whoop, wop, wop. Then you will find your most favorite specimen of the fairer opposite species sex. And this is the person you really enjoy over everybody. But you want that same bond and loyalty that you say you got with your homies. You want that from her.
But you won't even.
But we all in our culture have agreed that it's almost like I could meet you and you got a brother. We can be romantically involved. And if your brother really, 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 really keep it real, it could be you and I wedding day. And when me and your brother having a beer way, way down the road, it's an understanding that men have that they have. It's like it's been accepted that in the bottom underlining, and that's just gotten more popularized, that loyalty to the woman is not
it's something
necessary.
It's not. Yeah, that's a good way of stating that. It's not necessity. There's no necessity to it whatsoever.
And I've been brought back to a more honest approach on this subject by the way of having daughters. And I swear to God, I've been caught up in this, the general This is the way we move. But when I start having daughters and they start getting to teen and adulthood, my natural core spirit started analyzing these issues from a more, and I don't see it the way I used to see it, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe I asked you, or I think it was
It's
brought
come
up,
up. It's
yeah,
come up.
in our class where I was like, do you believe that having a daughter
Definitely.
influences you differently than having a son?
Definitely.
Because I noticed, with the father of my child, that he did not blink or wink an inch. But there are some men that, regardless of the gender, they just change whether, but I feel like, yeah, wouldn't you? Because especially if you're a heterosexual male, then I guess,
Indeed.
yeah,
There's going to be a difference. There's definitely a difference. I've heard it said in a comedic standpoint.
What do you think the difference is?
Well, this is simple. This is not me. I don't know who I got it from, but I saw it recently. Somebody said, when I had my son, I was in the weight room. I got him in my hands. I looked at him, and he was like, man, it's crazy. At this moment, I realized I'll die for you. I'll die for you. And he said, a couple years later, he's in the same living room, and he had a daughter, and he said, the difference was, I looked at her, and was like, I'll kill for you. I'll kill behind you. So in a very shallow sense, that's the difference from what I see.
And I would think it would be the vice versa for mothers as far as their daughters versus their sons.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I will kill for my son. Absolutely. But I think I would die for my daughter.
And it, in a sense of lineage, the natural order is my death lends to your takeover.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a
it's
natural.
Unnatural. That's why people say it's unnatural for a parent
bury
to lose
their child.
a child.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct. And then I look at the male-female dynamic in any culture, like I look at a turtle and its shell. They provide totally different functions, but they're both equally as essential. As protective as a shell of a turtle is, what is that shell if it uses that strength to crush the softness of the turtle beneath it? And as important as all the organs are, the mental, whatever else the turtle is that is not protective, what is the shell without that? I think that's the balance that is often missed between, especially in our culture, amongst our males and our females, that we have to somehow focus on and find our way back to. I think that's why it's important for me to view, or us to view, our mother, our auntie, our wife, our boo, our sister, our aunt, our daughters, our female cousins, all as the same person. When we look at the woman as the woman in our life, I'm going to respect your mother like I would respect my mother.
Right.
And you're going to respect my daughter like you would respect your daughter. Absolutely. Because it is all one energy and it's one entity. That's just my thought.
And then also with that uplifting, you get better
results.
Yeah, better mentality.
Yes.
Like, I'm emulated because these people have a respect for me that, because we're all family and because we all, just have like a certain. I had it and then it
It's
just
okay.
trailed off. But
it happens to me often. I'm right with you though.
But yeah, like a certain emulation of women. I think we're lacking that because women are so just fed up and tired. I saw a video just the other day about it saying that men, it's time for us to start taking some of the accountability. The women are tired. They need a break. It's time to give them that break.
Wow.
And I was just like, whoa. I wasn't even like, I think I was like sweeping my floor and I just like,
were you in agreement? You appreciated hearing that?
oh yeah, absolutely. And I haven't even like, I know I'm getting tired. I don't know if I'm like fully like, because some women are like, I'm tired, and I don't ever want to get to that point ever. But I am like humbly overstretched.
Do you mind expanding on what is exhausting you? I mean, like what? And then when you say that as a message toward men, where can a man step up and relieve some of this? What tires you so?
For me, okay, this is like where should we get started? Like, my household was broken, but it was stable and steady. I didn't have a father figure that was constantly there. My uncle was my father figure. He was in and out because there were issues with my mother and my aunts, and there was family beef tension, so that prevented me from having certain relationships in my life, which is completely fine. It sucked. I went through hell, but I think, in moving forward with that, I can relate to some of my nieces and nephews that have one parent, or my siblings that have one parent, or grow up in a broken home, because I've lived through it myself. But when I decided to start dating, it was always very important to my mother that none of us had daddy issues, because, she didn't want us to be so, I feel like this is the wrong word, but like encumbered on a man, or enamored with a man to a point where we would take anything from him, like whatever bullshit that they just ditched us out with, just because we've never had that fatherly love and that love from a man, or that example of a love from a man. So we would be reliant on whatever we got from this dude. She was always fearful for her daughters for that. But I don't think, with knowing that, and this is just being 100% honest, I don't think my mother, because she didn't really learn that for herself, it was hard for her to show that for her daughters, so we ended up doing it anyway, just in a different way. And we just put up with a lot of things, even though our men weren't like, well, there were a couple that were pretty on my sister's scale, and even on mine, that have been extreme, but we're not, my sisters and I, we don't move around in a very loud way in a sense. Like, we pretty much say, this is what we're looking for, and we'll treat you nice, we'll do for you. We treat you like the wife without being the wife. And we deal with a lot of stuff that comes to that. And then if we end up breaking up, then it's like, oh, I gave him all this time, or I did all these things. Why did he cheat on me? Why did he do this to me?
You're exhausted of the process of being totally invested.
Yes.
And then not being reciprocated, and now trying to find yourself at this fresh energy again.
And it's the cycle of redoing it. And then it's like, because we're Black women, it's like, and I know we can't necessarily delve into that from time to time, but I do feel like, for me personally, it's like, because I'm so like always strong and happy and this and that, it's like, if I ever go through anything and somebody sees that, they're like, what are you doing? Like,
set yourself
like,
up.
what are you
Set the bar high.
Yeah, which is fine.
But you don't find compassion from any of that audience who's used to rely on you for that light when it's dark? Nobody tries to feed you?
Oh no.
Wow, that's
why I said I'm in a different walk. When I tell you guys in the DUI program, I'm in a certain walk right now, because I have to learn how to set boundaries with people that I have been so accustomed.
We don't know what lights the sun.
Yeah.
The sun gets up every day and shines, yet we don't know when it gets dark what the sun goes through, how it has to regenerate itself. So I guess you find it to reach within versus reach without.
Always. Reaching within. Yeah. That's why I was like, yeah, can you
that's what I do.
Yourself?
That's what I do personally.
You have to, because when you are in there dark, all alone by yourself, in the darkness of whatever that is for your mind and you, like, and your phone is ringing, but you can't pick up, and people don't understand that, nobody's showing up,
or it's not ringing, or it's not ringing at all,
or like you got Facebook people that are liking the stuff that's making them laugh, but then like when you miss a few days, or when you put something serious out, it's like, no, hey, are you okay? I noticed that your tone changed a little bit. Normally you're like this, you good? Hey, I'm just gonna come over. Are you available? Where are you at? Like, during those times where it's just you with yourself, by yourself, going through whatever that's in your mind, like, you really have to, first of all, you get in a dark space, and then you have to like, okay, what are we going to accept for ourselves? We have to accept better. And then you have to slowly, sometimes it's like crawling, like on your belly, literally sometimes, like just pulling yourself day by day, like, you got this, and then you get on your hands and knees, you got this, and then you get on your feet, and then you start walking, then you got to start moving, then you got to start climbing, then you start digging yourself out of that hole.
You are so expressive at this moment. I think you forgot the question was.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I appreciate it all. I just want to make sure we get a cohesive concept
no worries.
of we get an idea how exhausted you are.
Oh yeah, sorry.
How can a man help alleviate any of that?
It's well, one, if for me personally, I would like somebody to know me, like know how I move, and I know that takes time, but are you really ready to take that time? When I used to have conversations about dating, I used to be like, look, I'm dealing with all this stuff and I'm moving like this. So are you down to see me going through this? Because this is the walk that I'm on. If not, then please wait until I finish healing, and then we could try this
You
again.
say when I was thinking, is it to the point where you're at a point in your life where you've put dating on hold and now it doesn't have a place in your current day-to-day process?
I'm not looking to date right now, only because I'm not fully healed myself, and I have a son, and I don't want
to date him.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I don't
You know,
necessarily agree with the word dating.
Yeah, I don't want to come across weird because I didn't mean it like that.
I knew what you meant. I just there are some moms that go overboard with their. Yeah, that's where I don't want to be like that.
No baby boy.
But yeah, my son will be my +1 on the guest list and stuff like that. Only because, like I said, I haven't finished healing. I'm still healing from the traumas of what the father of my child put me through. And then I've started talking to my father again recently, and he has his own issues. And actually, he just went off on me like last week, and I had to take and it reminded me of the way my ex talked to me. And I was like, why am I allowing? If I'm not allowing this person to talk to me, why am I allowing my own father, who is earning his way back in the place of my life, and I have a son. So like, it's very important for men, good, strong men, to be around my son right now, helping me raise him and being there for him. But just saying all that to say, I'm gonna kind of like skip around because you did ask the question,
okay.
But yeah, I don't want him to think it's okay to act a certain way. I want my son to be a gentleman. First and foremost, I think it's a dying off thing that needs to be brought back to life.
Chivalry
and even if
is you're right.
Yeah, and if he, just like, a lady of my stature and caliber is very hard to find, even though, I may not dress like the 1950s typical housewife, and I don't claim to be a housewife necessarily, though I could do it and I could do it well.
Talk that talk, baby.
But I do want him to be a gentleman, somebody that I would have wanted for myself, but I'm not going to look for a man in him.
Of course
through
not.
that, but I'm gonna.
And I
tell
definitely
him,
did not mean to suggest.
Oh
anything
no.
Okay.
I'm just because I want to be sure that I got it. I say it right as well,
yes.
because, like I said, there are mothers out there that are like, oh, that's my son, and I know him the back of my hand. He knows me the back of my hand because we've been around each other this whole time, and we love each other, and that's fine and dandy for what y'all got going on. But I want my son to have a healthy, happy, everlasting marriage. If he chooses to have a marriage that, I want it to be a true relationship. My grandparents were married for 67 plus years.
Are you in full realization that just having that vision of your son's future that naturally puts him in a heterosexual situation is considered?
My son he flirts with girls all the time.
Okay,
so.
we spotting it. How old is he?
He's 6 months.
Do you hear what she said? We spotting it early too on our side.
Yeah, well, he does this thing where he every time a girl talks to him, he's like, but then guys talk to him of all different shades and colors. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I see you, but I just want but I want my son to be able to stand and hold his own at the same time. He's not going to be a punk. He's going to be smart. He's going to know these streets just because.
Nerdy but sturdy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what the world is headed towards. But a lot of people, they have the book smarts, but they don't have the street smarts, and then they get caught up. I want my son to have all the smarts.
Right.
And like I said, that's where this country's going. But as also, keep your head about yourself, boy. Know where you come from.
That's right.
And know who your mother is and how she held herself and how she held you, son.
Yes.
Because you will see this.
Yes.
But
yes.
So.
Factz Ova Feelinz.
Let's get the final thoughts on Gaylyn Morris killing Andre Smith, and then we'll wrap up the episode.
But I just overall, as far as the relationship part goes with Gaylyn, I just feel like somebody
Rest in peace to Andre Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. Rest in peace. it was just senseless. And if maybe she would have had a different lifestyle and upbringing, and some sisters to sit down and go, girl, he's not the one they're putting, or even a man, like he's not worth it. Like where was her support people, and why didn't she have any if she didn't have any? Like what went wrong?
I really believe that on the same subject, same note, same spirit, that with all that considered, she could have had and perhaps did have all that in place, but there's a whole series of television shows that have been going on for quite some time under the title Snapped. And I think it's just indicative that certain elements to situations are
very true.
Yeah, they drive women. We got to be careful, fellas.
You know, we get tired, and when we get tired,
she will snap. Yeah. All right, well, and that's just a fact over how we feel about it, even though I do appreciate the facts as much as your feelings.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming through.
Absolutely. I thank you for having me.
Indeed. I want to wish you success on all the endeavors that you share with me
Ditto.
coming up and share with us. I want you to let the audience know where, social media-wise, let them know where they can find you, because I definitely want them to be able to keep up with you as you build.
Yes. So on Instagram, you can find me at Melavated, MELAV8, the number 8D. And then my gamer page is at Awesome Acid, spelled AWESOMEACYD.
That's what's up. I know this is definitely above your class level. I know ladies typically have cash apps. There might be just gentlemen, you might
No, you can have my cash app, so go ahead.
They love to get, okay, well, all right.
$LG Becca, BECKA.
There you go. Bless the lady, pay the lady, man. She is definitely deserving of
Please
anything.
And thank you.
Yes.
I have a son to support. Single mom, single parents out there, unite.
We trying to melevate as a culture.
Melevated nation.
Mama, Baymac, be about your melevation at all costs. You know where to find me, Spider Loc Most Easty, the number 7 on IG, and then YouTube, Spider Loc Most Easty is the channel. And until further notice, we'll be right here on the Factz Ova Feelinz podcast, politicking. You got a green light, open invitation. Anytime, anything on your mind, you want to come back, break bread, politic, we'll be here. And much success. Thank you.
Thank you.
The life we living now is all about the money. So what you gonna do when you ain't got no money? Them foreign cars and all the bitches, they gon' leave.